I remember when I was a kid in the third grade, I really loved sharks, especially the great white. Out of every shark you heard about, this was the big bad shark, the toughest of them all, minus Megalodon. The movie most people associate with the great white is Jaws. The original was a masterpiece and would set the stage in making the great white shark the most popular shark. It wouldn't be the only time the great white would inspire many monsters and characters today. However, the great white's image wasn't always positive. For years, the great white has been shown as a vicious man-killer, wanting to taste of sweet human flesh. In fact, one of the names for this shark is White Death. Add to the fact that great whites have also been known to tip over boats in their large size, and you can kind of see where this negative association came from. But are great whites really such evil animals, or do these sharks have a cuter side? Well, great whites are different from other sharks in a few ways. One thing that separates the great white from other sharks is their intelligence. You see, great whites actually learn about their surroundings and try to make sure they are able to understand what is going on around them. In fact, great whites do something weird for a shark, and that is spy hopping. For those not in the loop, spy hopping is when an animal pops its head out of the water in order to observe an area. Spy hopping is mostly done by cetaceans. This gives you a clue that the great white is actually using vantage points in order to learn. Another interesting thing about the great white shark is its curiosity. Like a large underwater cat, great whites make sure to observe everything in an area. How do great white sharks check something that piques their interest? Well, they bite it. Yeah, just like a big baby. In fact, this biting might be why a lot of great white shark attacks even happen. Think about it. These animals rarely see humans, so of course they are going to try to check you out. Great whites even have some social groups. And again, like domesticated cats, great whites don't have social groups. Instead, they sort of form gatherings, and these gatherings have a hierarchy. It is usually based on size, so females tend to be on top. This is because female great whites are usually 4.57 to 4.88 meters, while males are 3.35 to 3.96 meters. And the bigger the shark, the more power you have. This logic also applies intraspecifically as well. This is thanks to the great white's brain. Contrary to popular belief, the great white shark doesn't have a small brain. The brain of the great white shark is actually 60 meters long and weighs 35 grams. What makes this brain great is that when the cerebral hemispheres work with the rest of the brain, the shark actually begins to think. Great whites think about things like, what is something? Should I approach this or not? What is the best strategy for hunting? Why does everybody online pick Zero May Cry? And more. With the ability to tell time, great whites are able to determine the right time to hunt seals. And then, the awesomeness begins, man! Seriously, this is like the coolest thing. However, this jumping seems to only be done in South Africa. But why do these sharks jump? Well, they jump so high because they are charging at their prey at an incredibly fast speed. Because, physics and stuff. The great white has no choice but to leap out of the water. Great whites can swim up to speeds of 56 kilometers per hour, which is surprising because great whites weigh up to 1,950 kilograms. And this is thanks to the great white shark's powerful muscles. Like most other sharks, the great whites have two different types of muscles, white and red. The white muscle is used for short bursts of speed. The red muscle is used for cruising along. After all, if they stop swimming, they drown. But what makes great whites weird is their ability to keep their body temperature warmer than the water around them. This is known as gigantothermy, and it is the rete mirabile that enables the great white to do this. In short, this is a warm-blooded fish. A common trait that the great white shares in common with other sharks is the empuline of Lorenzini. These are pretty much jelly-filled sacs that help the shark sense electrical currents in the water. One thing that shouldn't surprise anyone is that great whites have a deadly bite. The great white's bite force, you see, is really strong. In fact, studies have shown that the great white shark could possibly release a bite force of 18,216 newtons. This works well for him because the food the great white has to eat requires it to be able to take down prey quickly. In fact, the great white shark is one of the most important predators in the ocean. The great white eats a wide range of animals, from seabirds to fish like rays, tuna, and other sharks, and mammals, like sea otters, the aforementioned seals, and most cetaceans. And I say most for a reason because one cetacean isn't eaten by the great white, but is instead the one that eats the shark. Orcas! There is a reason the great white shark isn't an apex predator. You see, there have been reports of orcas actually eating great white sharks. However, the great white shark isn't the easiest thing to hunt. Hell, if an orca isn't careful, the white pointer might just end its life. So how does it overcome this powerful animal? Well, it's simple. Flip it upside down. You see, there is a weakness in the shark known as tonic immobility. Think of an orca using body slam on the shark and it being paralyzed afterwards. Once the shark is unable to move, the orca proceeds to rip the shark open and eat its liver. However, the scent of the dead great white scares other ones away. Kinda like a get out of there kind of thing. Another predator the great white has to worry about is itself. Great whites have been known to cannibalize on each other, with bigger great whites usually eating smaller ones. Children often have to fear this cannibalization, even from their own mothers. Speaking of children, I should explain great white reproduction, but there isn't much to know about it. We don't have any videos of great whites mating. But what is known about the great whites mating is that they have typical shark genitalia, males having claspers and the female the cloaca. Female great whites are ovoviviparous, meaning that the eggs will hatch inside the female, then she will give birth. I feel like I'm missing something here. That's right, I didn't go over the evolution of the great white shark. Duh. Let's start at the order Lamniformes, also known as the mackerel sharks. What distinguishes this group from other sharks is that they are able to maintain a higher body temperature than the surrounding water. They have 2 dorsal fins, an anal fin, 5 gill slits, and their eyes lack a nictitating membrane. This order first appeared in the early Cretaceous period. Further down this line is Lamidae, which first appeared around the mid to late Cretaceous period. This family holds 11 genera, but only 3 of them are extant. These extant genera include Imna, Isurus, and Carcharodon. The great white is a member of Carcharodon. Now the name Carcharodon rings a bell, as it is the name of the biggest shark to ever live, Carcharodon megalodon. Now the great white and the megalodon do have similar teeth. However, there is some debate on whether the great white is more related to the Carcharodon megalodon or an extinct species of mako shark known as Isurus hastilis. The great white shark has also been around for a really long time. In fact, the species first evolved in the Miocene 16 million years ago. To put that into perspective, the Pan-Homo common ancestor was alive at that time, and in those 16 million years, the great white has established itself in a wonderful spot. Great whites can be found in waters from temperatures around 12 to 24 degrees Celsius, so they can be found in places like Japan, Australia, America, South America, Mexico, you name it. However, one place where great whites mostly establish themselves is, you guessed it, South Africa, which does have the highest population of great whites. Hopefully you learned something from this video. Are great whites really killers? Well, despite them being dangerous, they aren't the super vicious white death we have made them out to be. If anything, we have done more to damage them than they did us. How the great white is only recovering now and it is still vulnerable. How have you seen what we've done to them? We put them in aquariums. That's pretty much like jail for them. Despite having a lot of attacks under its belt, they are across the span of hundreds of years, and most of them are non-fatal. So it might be high time to change how we view the great white. The great white shark is quite an awesome animal, and personally I think they're kinda cute. Well, I'm MetaZ, and remember, ignorance isn't bliss. Hey, MetaZ here. Oh, actually you saw me before. Well, this is here to tell you that you should like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I also have a Facebook and Twitter if you want to follow those as well. Alright, that's pretty much it. See ya.